Modern scientists just discovered a specific type of ancient daily bread that behaves almost identically to ibuprofen inside your body, shutting down chronic inflammation at the cellular level. But this recipe wasn't engineered in a modern medical lab. It was written down thousands of years ago, hidden in plain sight within the pages of the Bible. While the world is obsessing over the latest confusing diet fads, they are completely missing the most powerful healing meals ever consumed. Why were pomegranates prominently carved into the massive pillars of King Solomon's temple? It wasn't just for decoration, it was a biological blueprint. What is the exact immune-boosting synergy of lentils and garlic that kept ancient populations functioning at an elite, disease-free level? You are about to discover 10 specific biblical meals and ancient food combinations that modern nutritional science is finally confirming as the ultimate defense against metabolic disease. Forget everything you've been told about modern nutrition, because once you see the rapid gut-rebuilding power of meal number 4 and the exact way to assemble the Deuteronomy 8:8:7 sacred foods protocol, you will never look at your dinner plate the same way again. We live in an era of profound nutritional amnesia. Look around you. We have access to more dietary data, more synthetic supplements, and more heavily marketed health foods than any generation in the history of the world. Yet, as a society, we have never been sicker. You probably feel the effects of this crisis right now. The unexplained heavy exhaustion that hits you like a brick wall at 2 in the afternoon. The subtle yet constant stiffness in your joints when you roll out of bed. The relentless brain fog, the stubborn weight retention, and the daily digestive discomfort that you have slowly been conditioned to accept as a normal part of getting older. It is not normal. The modern, multi-billion-dollar diet industry thrives on keeping you confused. They want you bouncing endlessly between extreme restrictive fads, are relying on laboratory-engineered meal replacements, and swallowing handfuls of synthetic vitamins to fix a problem that our modern food system created in the first place. We are suffering from an epidemic of chronic, low-grade cellular inflammation, a silent fire burning inside our bodies, fueled by ultra-processed, chemically treated ingredients that our ancestors wouldn't even recognize as food. Now strip away the modern world. Picture the men and women of the ancient Near East. They lived in harsh, arid climates, built massive civilizations, and walked thousands of miles across unforgiving terrain. They faced blistering heat and grueling physical labor daily. They didn't have pharmacies, they didn't have refrigeration, advanced medical imaging, or antioxidant gummies. By today's medical logic, their bodies should have been rapidly breaking down. But they weren't. Bioarchaeological evidence reveals that these ancient populations possessed incredibly dense bone structures, elite cardiovascular resilience, and gut microbiomes so robust and diverse that today's top gastroenterologists can only marvel at them. Their secret wasn't genetic luck, it was exactly what was on their plates. For centuries, humanity has read the Bible purely for spiritual guidance, completely ignoring the fact that hidden within its pages is a highly sophisticated, hyper-specific dietary code. The texts of Genesis, Leviticus, and Deuteronomy aren't just historical records, they are biological survival manuals. The meals recorded in Scripture were perfectly calibrated by the Creator to communicate directly with human DNA, suppressing disease, feeding beneficial gut bacteria, and keeping the human machine running at absolute peak performance thousands of years before we even knew what a microbiome was. But right here is where everything you think you know about healthy eating gets completely turned upside down. If your immediate reaction is to just run to your local mega supermarket to buy some conventional wheat, mass-produced grapes, and cheap commercial olive oil, you are making a fatal, highly inflammatory mistake. You see, the heart-healthy whole wheat bread currently sitting on your kitchen counter is biologically unrecognizable from the bread Jesus broke at the Last Supper. The modern agricultural industry has genetically hijacked these sacred staples, hybridizing, modifying, and spraying them with toxic herbicides until what was once ancient cellular medicine has literally been transformed into a modern metabolic poison. To unlock the true healing power of Scripture, you have to eat exactly like the ancients did. That means raw, fermented, sprouted, and wild. Let's break down the actual meals. Meal number 1 is the true daily bread, and it's nothing like the highly processed foams sitting in your pantry. God gave the prophet Ezekiel a hyper-specific recipe: wheat, barley, beans, lentils, millet, and spelt. Why this exact combination? Modern science reveals that when you sprout these ancient grains and combine them with legumes, you create a complete amino acid profile that actively wipes out gut inflammation. The bioactive compounds in genuine Ezekiel bread actually inhibit the COX-2 enzymes in your body. That is the exact same inflammatory pathway targeted by over-the-counter ibuprofen. You are literally eating biological pain relief. But bread alone didn't build their legendary immune systems. For that, we look to the stew that traded a birthright. Meal number 2 is Esau's red lentil and garlic stew. Genesis tells us Esau sold his entire inheritance for a bowl of red stew. Nutritionally speaking, he knew exactly what his exhausted body needed. Red lentils are packed with bioactive polyphenols and dense minerals. But the real magic happened when the ancients crushed raw garlic into this boiling broth. Crushing garlic releases allicin, one of the most potent naturally occurring antiviral compounds on Earth. Paired with the high zinc content of the lentils, this stew acts as an impenetrable shield against viral infections. Yet, an elite immune system is useless if your cellular energy is constantly crashing. That brings us to meal number 3. The Genesis 43 Protocol. When Jacob sent his sons to Egypt during a brutal famine, he told them to carry the best products of the land. His top choices? Raw honey and almonds. This was not a random trail mix. Raw, unpasteurized honey contains active enzymes that feed your mitochondria directly. Almonds provide dense, slow-burning fats. When eaten together, they completely stabilize your blood sugar for hours, shutting down the massive insulin spikes that cause modern brain fog and stubborn belly fat. But you can't absorb those vital nutrients if your digestive tract is destroyed. And that brings us to the rapid gut rebuilding miracle of meal number 4. If your gut lining is compromised, you are starving on a cellular level. The ancients didn't pop synthetic probiotic pills. They consumed raw, fermented goat's milk mixed with bitter cucumbers and mint. Fermented goat's milk contains a 2-casein protein. Unlike the heavily processed A1 protein found in modern commercial cow's milk that tears your gut apart, a 2-casein actually soothes the intestinal wall. It floods your GI tract with live lactobacillus, sealing a leaky gut almost overnight. But what about your heart? Meal number 5 explains why King Solomon ordered hundreds of pomegranates carved into the massive pillars of the first temple. It wasn't just ancient artwork, it was a biological blueprint. Modern cardiology just discovered that consuming crushed pomegranate seeds stimulates a massive release of nitric oxide in the bloodstream. It literally dilates your blood vessels, naturally lowering blood pressure and scrubbing dangerous arterial plaque out of your system. It is elite cardiovascular medicine hiding in plain sight. But clearing your arteries means absolutely nothing if your cells are drowning in oxidative stress. Enter the master antioxidant of the ancient world. Meal number 6 is the Sea of Galilee wild fish and caper plate. Ancient fishermen weren't eating farm-raised tilapia fed on corn. They ate wild-caught fish loaded with untouched omega-3 fatty acids, but they paired it with wild capers. Science now knows capers contain the highest concentration of quercetin of any food on the planet. Quercetin is a master bioflavonoid that hunts down and destroys zombie cells in your body before they can trigger chronic disease. But even with clean arteries and clear cells, you still need raw, explosive stamina to survive the ancient world, which sets the stage perfectly for the ultimate metabolic game-changer, the exact way to assemble the legendary Deuteronomy 8:8 protocol. To understand the magnitude of this, we first have to look at meal number 7. The Passover, bitter greens, and golden oil. Ancient Israelites didn't use olive oil to deep fry. They consumed raw, first-pressed, unfiltered olive oil poured directly over Ayurveda herbs like chicory and endive. Modern science now knows that genuine raw extra virgin olive oil contains oleocanthal, a bioactive compound so powerful it actively targets and clears out damaged cells. When combined with the liver-stimulating enzymes naturally found in wild bitter greens, you create an unparalleled biological detox protocol that flushes metabolic waste from your system. But clearing waste is only half the battle. You have to actively stoke your cellular engine, which brings us to meal number 8, the vineyard ferment. So before grapes were hyper-sweetened and genetically modified for the modern grocery aisle, the ancients consumed them slightly fermented, often turning them into strong, sharp vinegar paired with crushed ancient mustard seeds. We now know that the acetic acid in genuine raw grape vinegar completely blunts the glycemic impact of anything you eat it with, while the mustard seeds contain myrosinase, an enzyme that acts like a spark plug for your body's natural fat-burning mechanisms. And when ancient warriors sustained physical trauma, severe illness, or total exhaustion, they didn't rely on synthetic energy drinks. They turned to meal number 9, the prophetic fig protocol. When King Hezekiah was at the brink of death from a severe infection, scripture records that a poultice of pressed figs was used for his rapid recovery. Today, cellular biologists confirm that raw, seeded figs are absolute powerhouses of dense potassium, calcium, and potent antibacterial flavonoids that radically accelerate tissue repair and reinforce bone density. Which finally brings us to the pinnacle of ancient nutritional science. Meal number 10. The ultimate biological symphony, the exact way to assemble the legendary Deuteronomy 8:8 protocol. Scripture outlines 7 specific sacred foods promised to fuel a thriving, indestructible civilization: wheat, barley, vines, fig trees, pomegranates, olive oil, and honey. For centuries, scholars thought this was just a poetic list of ancient agriculture. It is not. It is a precise, hypersynergistic biological formula. When you assemble this protocol into a single meal, you are layering the exact nutrients human DNA requires to achieve absolute biological dominance. You start with a warm base of sprouted, unbroken ancient wheat and barley, unlocking the gut-healing amino acids. You fold in the deep, dark, mineral-rich flesh of raw figs and the vascular dilating crimson seeds of the pomegranate. You toss in wild seeded grapes right off the vine. Finally, you drown the entire bowl in a heavy pour of raw, unfiltered olive oil and a thick drizzle of unpasteurized, enzyme-rich honey. This is the 7 sacred foods feast bowl. And what happens inside your body when you eat this exact combination is nothing short of miraculous. The dense, slow-digesting complex carbohydrates from the sprouted ancient grains perfectly carry the massive surge of raw antioxidants from the pomegranates and grapes directly into your bloodstream. The cold-pressed olive oil acts as a biological shield, binding to the natural sugars in the figs and honey so that your insulin levels remain completely flat while your cellular energy skyrockets. The raw, living enzymes in the honey actively digest the grains right in your stomach, completely eliminating the bloating, heavy fatigue, and brain fog caused by modern processed meals. This is the master switch. You are activating a metabolic pathway that modern medicine is just now beginning to understand. You are flooding your system with ancient cellular medicine that suffocates chronic inflammation, rebuilds your microbiome, and restores the vibrant, limitless energy you were originally designed to possess. You no longer have to be a victim to the exhausted, inflamed, and heavily medicated modern world. The ultimate blueprint for your health isn't hiding in a laboratory. It has been waiting for you, hidden in plain sight for over 3,000 years. But knowing this ancient blueprint is only the first step. The reality is, executing the Deuteronomy 8:8 protocol with what is sitting on your local grocery store shelves will completely backfire. Modern agriculture has hijacked these sacred foods. Commercial olive oil is often secretly cut with highly inflammatory seed oils, and conventional supermarket wheat has been genetically stripped of its natural, gut-healing amino acids, acting as a toxin rather than medicine. If you want to actually flip this biological master switch and experience the miraculous cellular healing we just talked about, you must know how to identify and source the uncorrupted ancient versions of these exact ingredients today. That is exactly why I created the video you see on your screen right now. In it, I expose the massive deception hiding in the modern health food aisle and show you the precise, step-by-step methods to find the authentic, genetically intact ancient foods your DNA is currently starving for. Do not let the commercial food industry steal this reclaimed vitality from you just because of a misleading label. Click the video on your screen right now to uncover the sourcing secrets of the ancients, and I will see you there.